Dear friends, this session is aimed at making you understand the various aspects which are related to sale on high sea. Sale on high sea, the realities in today's globalized trade operations. Dear friends, we will today try to understand that what is the conceptual framework of sale on high sea. Additionally, we will try to understand how sale on high sea transaction take place, what are the various benefits and motivations for uh, getting into sale on high sea transactions. And dear friends, we will also try to understand that how a sale on high sea contract is framed between two trading parties. Let me start. Before I start, I welcome to each one of you to this sessions. And dear friends, sale on high sea is a transaction which take place between two parties where goods are traded on high sea. Let me first define you what is high sea. We have a conventions which is framed by United Nations. This is known as United Nations Conventions on Law of Sea, which defines territorial water, contiguous zone, exclusive economic zones of respective countries. My dear friends, law is very simple, very clear, very lucid. It describes about that each country has 12 nautical mile as a territorial water and additional 12 nautical mile as a contiguous zone. From the baseline of a country, 200 nautical mile is exclusive economic zones of the respective country. Dear friends, as a country, each country usually specify its rights, which where what will be the custom lines. Some countries of the world define 24 nautical miles as a custom line. Where, when it cross the barriers, the goods will be deemed to enter to a domestic tariff area of the country. In some jurisdictions, it may be 12 nautical mile. My respected friends, any vessel comes into India must file IGM before getting into custom water of India, and any transaction which take place beyond India's custom water, which is 24 nautical mile, before filing of IGM and after filing of EGM. When a vessel starts from a foreign country, it files EGM, which is maybe 12 or 24 nautical mile depending on the respective jurisdictions which that country, specific country frames with. And this vessel file EGM and then the goods are on high sea. So a sale on high sea transactions is a transaction which take place after the goods has left the territorial water or the custom water of country of export and before it enter into territorial water or custom water of India. So goods are usually on high sea. A transaction take place between two parties where party A sell their goods or its goods to party B. There are a lot of reasons why sale on high sea transaction take place and why government promote and facilitate it. We will discuss and deliberate all those issues in today's technical session. So with this, I welcome to each one of you to today's technical session. Welcome. Dear friends, so let us move to our technical sessions where we will appraise the various aspects of how sale on high sea transactions take place. So first, let us understand the conceptual framework. What is exactly a sale on high sea transactions? Dear friends, a sale on high sea transactions is a transaction which is carried out by actual consignee. When we say actual consignee, it means the person who has imported a cargo from a foreign country. Let us take an assumption. Gentleman Mr. Vikas Gupta has imported a cargo from, let us take another assumption from Mozambique, a shipload of pulses. So he has imported shipload of pulses from Mozambique, which is loaded at a port of Beira, which cross the custom boundary of Mozambique, comes on high sea, and now this actual consignee want to sell this cargo to some prospective buyers, which may be one buyer or a group of buyer, so as to make more profit. Because usually we say that merchants has no country. Merchants goes to a country where there is a business. Business people always looks for wealth, money, wealth creation. That's the job they do. And this particular trader who is a consignee at the moment is looking for subsequent buyers to whom he can sell and make money. And dear friends, that is how business takes place. There are certain conditions that this transaction must take place on high sea. We have already discussed, and let me explain that this ownership of the title, ownership of the cargo must be transferred to these prospective buyers before this cargo entered the territorial water of country of import. So a transaction which is taking place by actual consignee, by to the prospective buyers by transfer of ownership, which take place through bill of lading, and cargo is traded on sale on high sea. Usually we can say that any transaction which take place after the port of loading. In this case, the port of loading is port of Beira, which is in Mozambique, and before the port of discharge. Let us take assumption that this cargo is coming to India. It is coming to a port of, let us say, Mangalore in western coast of India. So before port of discharge, before entering the custom water of India, the title or the ownership of the cargo must transfer to subsequent buyers. In India, there are various legislations which define, and most important among them being the Indian Goods and Service Tax Act, which has a legal framework under section 7 subsection 2 of the IGST Act, supply of goods in course of import into territory of India. And this course of import is here, it should be understood as that after the port of loading and before the port of discharge. So in between any transaction which take place, and it's further said till they cross the custom frontier of India will be deemed to be a supply in course of interstate trade or commerce. That is how that the acts define, and hence in such a cargo the GST will not be applicable because it has taken place beyond the territory of India. Should it has taken place within the territory of India, law of India will apply, and in this case the ultimate buyer, the penultimate buyer, will file the bill of entry and clear the cargo, and when he clear the cargo he will pay custom duty plus applicable IGST as per the legal framework under the various legislations in India. So dear friends, in similar fashion, let us understand that the conceptual framework once in a different fashion. So when a sale on high sea transaction take place, where high sea does not means that the sale on high sea can happen only in case when goods are traded by vessels, or goods are transported by vessels and traded at high sea. The word high sea is used, it means that sale on high sea can also take place when goods are transported by air. The word high sea is used because 95% of world goods, world trade is transported by vessels because it's the cheapest mode of transport. So that's why word high sea is used. Even sale on high sea can take place in case of air cargo. Only condition being after EGM, prior to IGM, after the port of loading, before the port of discharge, before the airport of discharge. Sale must take place beyond territorial water of India, and after the territorial water of the country, it will be deemed to be considered as a transactions as sale on high sea. So dear friends, one should also try to understand the taxable event when export and import take place. We have let me reiterate that there is a international conventions which is known as United Nations Convention on Law of Sea, which define territorial water of a country, which define contiguous zone of a country, exclusive economic zone, and also international continental shelf. From the baseline, 12 nautical mile is a territorial water. From the baseline up to 24 nautical mile is a contiguous zone, which sometimes is also referred as custom water. Then from baseline, let us take a baseline as Goa Beach. From Goa Beach, 200 nautical mile will be exclusive economic zone, and around 220, from territorial water, from baseline 220 or from territorial water, it may be 212 nautical mile will be considered as international continental shelf. So these are the broad concepts which are defined by legal framework. And Indian law, Indian Customs Act, section 2 subsection 23 define imports as anything which is coming into India. When it say with grammatical variations and cognate expressions, it means that the goods must enter territorial water of India. And even there are subsequent judgment which I would like to specially mention. It is known as this is very, very popular case, Kiran Shipping Mill versus Union of India, in which the process of import began movement goods entered territorial water of India, and process of import is complete when goods are cleared. It means out of charge order is given. If goods are in a bonded warehouse, goods are still considered to be in course of import. Similar fashion, section 2 subsection 28 of the of the Customs Act 1962 define export, wherein anything which is going out of India, it means goods leaving territorial boundary or custom water of India. So subsequently we can also see another diagram which define that how UN clause define the territorial or maritime water rights of the country. One of the key reason which comes to any trader's minds is that what are the key motivations, what are the key reasons why sale on high sea is such a hyped concept and such a important concepts which a traders must leverage in order to make his EXIM operations far more attractive, competitive, far more lucrative. And reasons are very simple. My dear friends, sale on high sea, there are several reasons, and most important reasons for sale on high sea transaction is a reduction in transaction cost. Transaction cost of the business become far less when we buy goods on sale on high sea. How? Let me explain. Let us take an assumption. We buy goods, somebody buy goods, Mr. A buy goods from Switzerland. It is a gold worth 100 crore of rupee. He brings the goods into India because it is a canalized item. Let us say Mr. A work for a company called MMTC. He brings the goods into India, a gold worth 100 crore rupee. He pay custom duty plus GST. So let us take an assumption that an amount of 10 crore rupee is paid, wherein 5 crore rupee is a custom duty, 5 crore rupee is a GST. That is what he has paid in order to clear the cargo. And on 110 crore rupee again, he sell this cargo. Since he sell this cargo, his transaction is more than 40 lakh rupees, which is a threshold limit for imposition of GST in India. He has to again pay GST for outward supply. So he has to file and he will claim the input credit of IGST, which he has paid at the time of custom clearance, plus he has to pay some amount of duty since it will be treated as a outward supply. When you sell it, for example, to gentleman B, the transaction on 110 crore rupee, if for example there is a 5% tax of GST, it will become around 115.5 crore rupee of transaction for the final buyer to procure this gold. Now in sale on high sea, what happens? Somebody buy the gold, let us say Mr. A buy the golds from Switzerland and transfer the title on sale on high sea goods before goods entering territorial water of India. Mr. B source the goods on sale on high sea. Let us take an assumption. In earlier case, the procurement cost was with a profit of, let us say, for example, profit is again for the gentleman A is, let us take an assumption, it is 10%, let us take an assumption. In that case, it means around 11.5 additional crore. So landed cost will be around 126 crore rupee for the final buyer. But in the new case, in case of sale on high sea, it is 10% profit, 100 crore rupee of cargo, 110 crore rupee of cargo plus GST on 110 crore rupee and custom he has to pay. If you calculate by your running Excel sheet, landed cost of the cargo in case of sale on high sea will be far lower, which may not be 126 crore rupee, maybe a little less. Even if he saves 1 crore rupee, that is a huge saving for a gentleman like B. So that is why the tax saving is the prime reason that sale on high sea transaction take place. Dear friends, in addition to that, sale on high sea also take place because there are certain cargo which are declared as a state trading enterprise, canalized items, which can be imported only by canalizing agency. I mean only, for example, canalizing agency like MMTC, STC, PEC, or in addition to that, for example, in case of certain fruits, it can be APIDA or NAFED. So there are certain items which are declared by DGFT as a canalized item. So if that agency can buy, they will source it from a foreign country and will sell it to subsequent buyers in India, prospective buyers in India on sale on high sea basis. Reason being, cutting the cost of the business by saving taxes. Plus they directly cannot source it from a ultimate supplier abroad because the item is a canalized item. It must be sourced by the notified canalizing agencies as framed and enshrined by DGFT in its Schedule 1 of import policy. Dear friends, let us not forget and must appreciate that the goods which are traded in bulk are also usually traded on sale on high sea. These may be bulk cargo. What kind of a bulk cargo? It can be coal, it can be crude oil, it can be gases. Usually it is a standard and standardized and homogeneous cargo. So homogeneous cargo traded in bulk. I take an example, and you can take other variety of example. Various kind of cereals, various kind of pulses, various kind of edible oil, various kinds of sugar. I mean, which you source from international market. Dear friends, such a bulk cargo is also usually traded on sale on high sea. Let me take an example. For example, there is a businessman who is a coal merchant. He is based in, let us take an assumption, he is based in city of Jaipur. He do a business of, hypothetically, he do a business of 5,000 crore rupee of coal. He sell coals in whole of Rajasthan. He is a popular man in Rajasthan, Jaipur, but he may not be a big man when we discuss about international business. So if we go, for example, to a country to source coal, let us take an assumption, country of export is Australia. He is not a big buyer. 5,000 crore rupees is nothing in coal business. Coal mines are developed, coal mines are sourced, auctioned, then they are developed, coal is extracted, it is brought to particular port from where it is exported all over the world. It requires huge investment, and even if he find a supplier, the cost of coal will be much higher. So coal is usually sourced. So a investor will develop a particular mine, will source the coal, will bring it to port, from where he will transport the coal by using ultra large cargo carrier ULCC to particular destination, where prospective buyer, like a gentleman based in Jaipur, who do a business of coal of 5,000 crore rupee, will approach to such seller who will be offering them far lower price, which otherwise he has to pay. For example, if we go directly and contact, since buying very small quantity, it will be far more far higher prices. When you source it on sale on high sea, since this gentleman is worth billions of dollars of company, owns several mines, own his own vessel to transport, and it is a wizard of coal trade. He understands in and out of coal trade. So he usually trade in bulk. When he trade in bulk, several kind of efficiencies are created. For example, price become very low, freight become very low, logistic cost become very less. And dear friends, when you have in bulk, then the overall business cost of which trading and documentation and various clearances become also far lower, which makes the cargo very, very attractive and very, very competitive cargo for the prospective buyer to buy to. So bulk cargo and high value cargo, like gold example I have taken, is usually traded on sale on high sea. Freight advantages we have just covered. In addition to that, dear friends, there are soul indenting agents. Let me take an example. For example, there is a certain kind of cargo which are usually sold only through soul indenting agents. Who those are? Let me take an example. For example, there is a cargo which has radioactive item. There is an X-ray machine in which cobalt 65 is used. My respected friend, you must be aware, cobalt 65 is a radioactive item and require prior clearances from Department of Atomic Energy. Such a clearance require prior clearances from Department of Atomic Energy. Otherwise, your cargo will not be cleared by Indian Customs. Reason being, what is the reason? May I tell you? Because you may not be a smart person to deal in radioactive cargo. You must be aware about a fact that there was an incident in Delhi wherein a X-ray machine or similar kind of machine is sourced from a university, I will not name, a university in New Delhi, and sold in a Mayapuri market. So it was cut into pieces, put into a furnace, and then when it was put into furnace, a blast happened, lot of radioactivity happened, and 2 people died on the spot. Because the handling of the radioactive items, I mean, at the time of use of such machine, and subsequent when you clear it, I mean, even as a scrap, require due diligence and lot of, you say, understanding that what repercussions it may cause to our society. And that's why Government of India say the customs, Government of India frame rules, DGFT frame rules, which custom follow at CCR. We have discussed CCR, which is a custom compliance requirement, and Indian custom will not clear such kind of cargo. So such kind of cargo is usually dealt by soul indenting agents. They buy in bulk and sell it to doctors or maybe subsequent hospitals or various kind of clinic center, polyclinic center, or various kind of other facilities where such X-ray machines may be required. So dear friends, because it requires clearances for atomic, from Department of Atomic Energy. So one person who may be sometime having a good knowledge about rules and regulations governing the trade of products which has element of atomic energy, may be well aware about the rules and regulation, will comply with Department of Atomic Energy, and will source such cargo and will transfer the title on sale on high sea basis, ensuring due compliance for such prospective buyer who would like to source such cargo which otherwise they cannot buy. Dear friends, in addition to that, there may be regulations of country of export. For example, you are sourcing this radioactive item from Canada. Now, Canadian government has imposed very strict regulations vis-a-vis export of items in which radioactive material is used, even if it is for medical use. Reason being because this may be misused by the people in order to create a anarchy in our society or in our systems, in our peace living world system. So dear friends, that's why soul indenting agents are common when radioactive items are used. Dear friends, sometimes we import cargo, and due to some lack of authorization, which DGFT specify in para 2.03 of chapter 2 of foreign trade policy, wherein they specify that all domestic rules and regulations, circular, and all guidelines will mutatis mutandis apply on import transactions unless otherwise exempted. Sometime you buy, you do not know whether you have your authorizations which handling of BIS cargo, FSSI cargo, or plant quarantine, or drug controller of India. Then it become easy to transfer the title to somebody who had such licenses to clear such cargo at destination port. So sale on high sea take place. Assurance of genuine trade deals. Nowadays, many a time sale on high sea is becoming more popular, is becoming far more beneficial, because ultimate buyer is assured of a quality which otherwise he may not be. Let me take an example. I met somebody who was traveling to Africa, and he was sourcing from Cameroon this wood which he will bring into India and will feed to his factory which manufacture plywood and various other kind of veneer, plywood, and other items which are used for household constructions nowadays. So he sourced wood, and he was not assured of a quality wood, quality supply, because jungles are cut, he may not be assured. So usually he enter into what we call as sale on high sea. So there are sellers in Cameroon who will cut the jungles. They will take necessary environmental clearances from government, and then they will load a shipload. Then they will bring the shipload on high sea, maybe 24 nautical mile away from custom water of Cameroon. Once the cargo comes on high sea, it becomes the rules and regulations of country of export does not apply. You are now at international water. Now if this buyer he go by a speedboat at high sea, check the cargo, and if he find the wood to be as per his specific requirement, he can enter into a high sea sale contract with such supplier and bring such a wood in India for subsequent running of saw machines so as to manufacture veneer or plywood to sell in a very attractive market like India for domestic use. Dear friends, then sometimes sale on high sea also happens because of poor trade channels. People also love to enter into sale on high sea transactions because they have very less working capital. They cannot invest for a longer period of time. I'll take an example. Indian Oil Company usually buy their oil, HPCL buy their oil on sale on high sea basis from various suppliers. So they source it and they want to cut their working capital requirement, cut their business cycle, because they cannot invest for 6 months down the line or 4 months down the line, but they require oil to refine and to market in a vast country like India. Then quality assurance from dubious suppliers is also one of the fundamental reasons. Free trade zones has also emerged a important network for leveraging sales on high sea, because they are usually treated as a foreign territory. So people buy in bulk, keep it in foreign trade, FTWZ, foreign trade and warehousing zones, and from where they make their supply. Sometimes sale on high sea also take place because of supply restrictions. For example, there are certain countries that do not have a normal trade relations with some countries of the world. Let us take assumption Iran does not have a normal trade relations with United States of America. So now they want to buy certain items which are manufactured in Iran. So they will US will somebody will buy it from USA, and if it is not a item which is under a sanction list, let us say it is a food item or medical supply which is not a sanctioned item under OFAC rules, so he will buy the cargo from USA and supply to ultimate buyers in Iran, also obeying the various UN sanctions or OFAC sanctions which are in place for a country like Iran. So these are supply restrictions because of which sale on high sea take place. Dear friends, so various benefits or goods are available at a short notice. We have discussed, rather than buying the entire shipment, you can buy a small quantity. Like coal example we have taken, you can buy a small quantity as per your specific business requirement, and goods are available at a very cheap rate. There is no tax upon tax, so you have a tax saving. And dear friends, you also claim input tax credit so as to cut your cost of business. Various drawbacks are it's a cumbersome procedure. There is a loading on pricing by Indian customs. There are potential frauds also. Loading of 2% by Indian custom I will discuss subsequently. A lot of documentation is required in drafting the contract to have a sale on high sea transaction. So how sale on high sea take place, dear friends? Somebody will buy the cargo, and once the goods leaves, let us say he started his cargo from port of Da Nang in Vietnam, and this cargo will leave the territorial water of Vietnam. Then he will transfer the title of the goods through bill of lading. Bill of lading is an important document. For essential feature of bill of lading is document is a contract of carriage, is a document of title, is a receipt of cargo, is a quasi-negotiable instrument. So that's the beauty of the bill of lading, which transfer the title from the original consignee to subsequent consignee by drafting a contract, which is usually done on a 100 rupee stamp, where sale on high sea deed is framed between such actual consignee to subsequent consignee. And this stamp date of such stamping of such contract must be after goods left the territorial water or custom water of country of export and before entering the custom water of India. This is a precaution you should take. It must be, the deal must be done before filing of IGM. It means the title must be transferred to ultimate buyer before goods enter the custom water of India. And same goods can be sold again and again. I mean, can you sell the same goods like your property flat? You can sell it to somebody who subsequently can sell it to somebody, because it's a title issue. Once you own a title, you are entitled to sell it to subsequent buyers. Similar fashion, sale on high sea can also have a string sales. When I say string sales, sale upon sale upon sale, same cargo may be traded 4 times, 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, and in case of crude oil, even for a larger number of times. Dear friends, sale must take place beyond territorial jurisdictions of India. That's the major precaution that I'm repeating again and again, that you must keep in mind. And dear friends, no GST will be applicable on such sales which happens on sale on high sea. Dear friends, there are certain precautions which must be taken. For example, when goods title is transferred, you must file an amendment in the IGM so as to change the detail of the cargo. Since in our previous sessions we have discussed that the detail of bill of entry matches with that of IGM. If the details does not match in EDI system, there will be an error. So you have to make an amendment in your bill of lading or in your IGM. It is better that amendment must be filed by such penultimate buyer in the IGM so as to ensure proper custom clearance at destination port. Usually sale on high sea contracts are done either on CFR and CIF. I will recommend always do it on CIF because other Incoterms cannot be used because you are between two ports. So other Incoterms, for example, XWork, FAS or FOB can be used at a origin port, and subsequent like CPT can be used in, or CIP or DAT or DDU or DDP can be used in country hinterland. So dear friends, only two Incoterms which are between two ports are CFR and CIF, which you can leverage in order to draft such kind of contract. 2% HSS load factor is a common practice by Indian customs, which they will charge in case the differential in price between the at what price he sourced and at what price the actual consignee sell the cargo is less than 2%, HSS load factor, high C sale load factor will be charged. In other cases, it will not be charged. Dear friends, ultimate buyers take the responsibility to clear the cargo at destination. He pay custom duty plus IGST and all other notifications, exemptions and entitlement will be available to him. If he otherwise, if he have directly imported or if he is clearing the goods on sale on high sea, custom treats both the transactions same. Only requirement is that they will ask you for subsequent sales, I mean the price they want to know, and they will ask you sale on high sea contract, so as to understand that at what price the cargo has started and at what price the cargo is finally reaching in India. And final buyer will be entitled to claim input tax credit, IGST, which has been paid. He can claim it. It cut his business cost significantly and makes his transaction to be an important transaction. Dear friends, the final buyer will also be entitled to same and non-discriminatory rules which classification, rate of duty, notifications and benefits which are applicable to similar imports in case of a normal sale. So these are some of the details which I would like to share with you all vis-a-vis drafting of sale on high sea contract. And I request all of you, should you require any additional detail, please be in touch. We shall provide you any additional detail on sale on high sea. So with this, we end our technical session. Thank you very much. Dear friends, we have well understood today that what is a sale on high sea as a concept, and what is the legal framework governing it, what are the various acts and legislations which has its impacts or its touching legal boundary vis-a-vis the sale on high sea transactions, what are the tax implications and what are the various motivations and benefits involved in sale on high sea transactions. Dear friends, we have also understood how contract is framed, what specific precautions an exporter or an importer if they have to keep in mind while executing a sale on high sea transactions. For sale on high sea transactions are reality for certain type of cargo, for example bulk cargo, speculative cargo, cargo which is sold by sole indenting agents. In addition to that, sale on high sea is also a very popular method when there is a short-term shortage of some essential food or some such kind of item, thereby creating urgent need to procure them on sale on high sea. It cut cost, it facilitates both exporter and importer, and it's a business reality because it's create win-win situation. So let us leverage sale on high sea transactions in our export and import transactions. With this, I thanks to each one of you. Thank you very much.